Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7:11. We're a minute late this morning, so we've got several members of this committee here. We'll get started with the Subcommittee on Higher Education Appropriations. This is on your track sheet. We'll start in Section 41.1.3. I'm just going to go over the proposed new items. This is providing funds for pasture weeds and forage specialist and crop and soil scientist, plus a distinguished investigator. I thought, Chairman Jaspers, that might be a job someday for you. Distinguished investigator of pasture weeds. I can just see. You know them, okay. That's 402. I'm demonstrating my knowledge of this subject matter. That's 402,740. This is in the ag experiment. 41.1.4, provide funds for a turfgrass pathologist, 171. Follow on down in cooperative extension. You'll see that these are actually funding for the educational programs and these tenure track faculty positions, so there's half in the ag experiment and half in cooperative extension. First is 41.3.2, that's the funds for the 6 educator positions in agriculture and natural resources. The 4-H Youth Development Center, that's a great ad. 324. 41.3.3, provide funds, this is the second half of the pasture weeds and forage specialist crop. 325. Moving on to the next page. Let's see, 41.5.2, one-time funds for the building maintenance of the Whitehall Forest in Athens, 170,000. 41.5.3, and this is the demolition of the surplus buildings at the Grant Memorial Forest, 50,000. Come on down to Cyber Innovation Training Center, 41.8.1. This is the funding for those 19 positions. You'll see the governor's recommendation was $4.4 million. With later information on the actual form of the request, we've adjusted that to 4.407. Let me look. Got a phone call? Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. Let's see. Next page. I'm just going over the actual changes that we had. All right. The Public Service Special Funding Initiatives 41.16.2. This increases the funds for the Georgia Youth Science and Technology Centers. This is the STEM program for rural Georgia. These teach the teachers in those programs. That's 125,000. We've done that several years now. The 41.16.3. This is the funds for the Center for Rural Prosperity and the House Rural Development Council. This is 1.717 million. Next page, 41.18.2, the Skidaway Institute. They asked for some research funds for the experiential learning on that vessel, the Savannah. We're going to do half and hope our friends in the Senate do the other half at $57,000. 41.19, I'm sorry, that's not a change, actually. That's the Bainbridge College. 19.6 was the transfer of the funds from Bainbridge to the technical education program at Technical College because of the consolidation. That's it. That was in there from the governor's recommendation. This next is particularly interesting to me. This is the SPIA program at the University of Georgia. Many of us have benefited from the SPIA graduates across every agency in state government, every administrative agency, every agency down here, and this is to provide some experiential learning and opportunities from internships to scholarships and that kind of thing. That'll be done from existing funds with the regents. That's a yes, but it'll probably be $423,000. Let's see, the next is 41.2.3 in the vet med. That's funds for the poultry clinical services veterinarian, 160,000. 41.20.4, that's the maintenance and operations dollars, 157.5. 41.20.5, one-time funds for the food and animal medicine haul-in facility, 900,000. All right, 41.20.6. This is a technician at the Tifton Veterinary Diagnostic for $52,000. This next is, I'm particularly proud of this as well. The Georgia Military College is a publicly supported institution that has teachers who are state employees, and as you know, we just put $361 million into the TRS to fund teacher pensions. Notwithstanding what the newspapers have to say about the little we've done, they just missed that $361 million we appropriated to teachers. They had a different agenda to talk about, but these teachers were short about $953,000. It's a small group, but this House is going to recommend that we fully fund their pensions as well. Maybe somebody needs to notify the Atlanta papers of those dollars. Let's see, under dual enrollment, okay, that's it in the Regents section. In 44, we also have responsibility for Student Finance Commission. There's the transportation grant that was the funds for the school bus replacement. That has just been transferred to the education portion of the budget. It's a $500 cut in ours, but it's been transferred over there, so there was no loss of those funds for school buses. Take a look at 44.10. That's the only other change in student finance. This is the low interest loans. It's been a successful program. Student finance uses the interest revenue for administrative costs, and they make additional loans with repaid principal. The $7 million reflects that, so continues to support that program. Service cancelable loans, 44.15.1. Student finance had previously used funds to expand the program, and this is $250,000 more that the WIP Coomer had requested in that program for the National Guard Service Scholarship. No change. Coming over to the technical college system. Provide funds for personal services and operations and the transition of the Cedartown Career Center. You know there were several of those the Labor Department had closed a few of those centers. This is a request made by OPB for $125,000 to assist in the transition for that Cedartown Center. This next is what we talked about in committee. I think several of you will be very pleased with this in 46.3.2 under the Governor's Office of Workforce Development. As you know, we transferred all of the funds from economic development to TCSG. We're spending a great deal of time and effort and money, and we've had some spectacular successes in bringing companies to the state through incentives. One of the things that we've all talked about, though, is to make sure that we provide the resources necessary to protect Georgia's jobs. And with a BRAC or a base closing exercise on the horizon next year or so, we're going to be competing against states like Texas and Florida and California and others who have a lot of bases, and they're putting multi-million-dollar efforts into place to protect those. If you look at Georgia's 7 major bases, you're looking at probably 500,000 jobs, not just 50,000 jobs. And we've talked about the governor has put together over the years a defense initiative that is tasked with making sure that Georgia speaks with one voice, and that we take very seriously the economic development and the jobs that are part of the bases all over this state. So we're asking that through the workforce development grants, administrative monies that are already there, actually. I think this is probably a better use than some of the uses maybe in the past. We're gonna ask that they, at least starting next year, and this is probably a 3-year run, we'll start with $2 million to compete across this country, and Georgia will do everything we can to make sure that we don't lose those jobs and those bases. So I think you can take that back to each. I know Chairman Smith was particularly, and Chairman Smyrie down in Columbus. We've all probably got a base very close to our district. So Representative Blackman and others. And finally, that's the very last is 46.5.6. That's just the adjusted funds on the Bainbridge consolidation transfer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all of the recommendations. Are there any questions? There's a recommendation, do pass, and second. I do appreciate all of the time and effort that goes into this. I know these meetings go quickly, and I know that this particular committee has a lot of other things that are important. I appreciate you guys being here. Just on a personal note, this is the last committee that I'll chair after 30 years in here, so I appreciate the time and I got to spend with all you guys. So last time I get this microphone, so I won't go too long. So, but you got a question? Yes, sir. Hold on, I'm working on it. Try that. Hold on.
Mr. Chairman, is it not true that you've led in this General Assembly for many years?
I've been here for many years.
And your leadership has benefited the people of this state, but I know of no other area that has benefited the people of this state, the young people of this state, than your service on this, leading this committee, and what you've done to better the opportunities for every Georgian. And I'm honored, as I know as these folks are, to have served on this committee and to serve with you in this House. But we just owe you a debt of gratitude, and I know the people of this state do as well. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. All right, there's a move. I agree, and I appreciate that coming from you. I just couldn't keep up with you in your 44 years. You're just a machine. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot coming for you, my friend. All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. It's on to the, and we will meet at 2:30 today as the full committee. So, see you then. Thank you.